Everyone, welcome to Lethal Sales. I'm so glad you're here. So is Larry and Peter. Tonight we're going to be talking about websites, why they're horrible, and what we can do about it. Specifically, dealer websites. Okay, I can see Peter's jumping at the bit. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, there's lots to say about websites and how they interact, and I will not lay the blame on dealers. I'm going to lay the blame on OEMs. It's
Really?
the OEMs that control the dealerships' websites, and because the dealers they turn around and say, "Well, we want our co-op money, so we have to use your approved websites." Well, think about this. What would you get if you didn't take the co-op money for the website?
Mhm.
You could get a website that worked, website that was dynamic, website that would be customer friendly, what website that made sense, that worked at speed, that was infinitely changeable, and what the customer actually wanted. That's one thing. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is website audits. When does a dealer do a website audit?
Well,
Typically, the real answer is never. But if they do one, it's when someone finds a mistake and they fix that one thing. Or the last one, and I had a great conversation with Ed Roberts at Russell's Golden Wrench Awards in Vegas about website audits. I said, Ed, when do you do a website audit? He goes, once a month. I said, that's amazing. How do you do it? Well, I first check it out on my laptop, then I check it out on my phone. I
Yeah.
said, great. That's absolutely fantastic. How about a tablet? 18% of the population uses tablets. Have you checked it out on a tablet? Have you checked it out versus in a PC versus Apple? Have you gone from a laptop to a desktop? What is going on? Now, on top of that, how about this? You looked at it. Did you get a civilian to look at it? Because if you did, the civilian will give you a completely different story to what you said and saw. So these are things that we have to look at in our web domain of our dealerships to actually accentuate sales possibilities. There's so many tools and toys and everything else beyond that, but the basics are those two issues. And just before I pass it to my good friend Larry, I want to wish all the happiness, health, and wellness to Jeff Shearer's daughter, who is in labor right now.
Ooh.
And if I'm correct, this will be his first grandchild. So we want to wish him the very best. And please reach out to Jeff and give him our heartfelt love. So thank you, Larry.
it's also Jeff Polo's
You're
birthday.
up.
Am I muted? I said it's also Jeff Polo's birthday.
Jeff Bolton.
A friend of just about everybody on this darn show, and a good, certainly a good friend of mine. Websites are like every other tool. If they're used properly, if they're kept clean, they can be fabulous. I mean, I have a website. People go to it. They see something I like or an endorsement. They want to use me. But the problem is the same problem that we have with every other aspect of life. If you're not on top of it, if you don't follow through, I can remember a long time ago. I wasn't a salesman anymore. I was running the dealership, and salesman came in and says, "Yeah, the car mentioned the car. It has a flat." I says, "Great. Did you take it to service or?" No, I'm telling you. Okay. Well, I immediately got service. But the general thing to do is to look at something, acknowledge a problem, and act like it doesn't exist or it's going to fix itself. And I think it's the same thing with websites. I would like to believe, and I'm not incorrect, that I'm the worst technical person on this program at this point. But even I could go on to 30 dealer websites and find mistakes, pages you hit that don't exist, wrong numbers, a sale car that's listed as 7 months ago, a 4-door Corvette. But what's amazing is there's no expediency in fixing these things. Think about it. How long dealerships have had CRMs And how long have they been battling with the salespeople to put the information in the CRM? So I think expanding on what you said, Peter, it's just a matter of not an edit from a guy like Ed Roberts, who might be the busiest guy on the planet with all the bays and techs he has, but having an outside eye on it, an inside eye on it, and communicating. If you watched any of Christopher Wray's testimony, you got really afraid because he said we're under an unbelievable high threat level, and they were talking about Trump and lack of communication. For anybody on this program that doesn't know, one of the primary problems we had with 9/11 was the FBI knew stuff and the CIA knew stuff, but they didn't tell each other. They were siloed. Doesn't that sound exactly like what goes on in dealerships? So if there's not somebody on top of the information and who can act and is willing to act, I think you're in trouble. Can I point something out? How simple it is? Mike Larkin, you and me have become really good friends, and I'm lucky and a better man for that. Would you agree that I might be the dumbest tech guy you ever met in your life? Because every time you try and explain something to me, I say, call Peter or Rhonda or go talk to the wall, because you'll get the better reaction from them than you will my dumb butt.
I love your bobblehead.
But
You know, I hit it
but
and you go.
But having said that, I looked at Michael Larkin's website. Okay, I pick on Michael Larkin because I love him. Okay, I'm as tight with him as I am with Fred and Russell and Peter and my man Tony and Wendy. The first thing I saw is he had a thing up that said paid benefits. Unfortunately, Mike is heavily dyslexic and drinks a lot. So instead of PAID, he had PADID. I picked up the phone. I said, Michael, I love you. Either you have a weird trick here or you misspelled paid. And he looked at it and went, I did misspell paid. Now, how long did that take? And I'm the worst tech guy on earth. But you can go to dealerships that have millions and millions of dollars invested. And I bet you'd be very hard pressed not to find a mistake or a bad link on everybody's website. Russell, you're everywhere. Am I wrong? Have you ever seen one website that was right?
Not even mine.
Now, the difference is, Larry, how long did it take me to fix it? That's the key, is these guys are being told there's a problem. Yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
But that's because you said you wanted to get back to drinking with 3 R's. So
you know me.
It was a consonant and vowel thing with you, Mike. No, but my point is,
Right.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing with tech stuff. I admit it. But my strength is I'm Wendy's hero because I am truly the human side of AI. Because I don't know a damn thing about AI. All I know is I handwrite everything. And when CDK went down, every dealer could access me because my stuff's handwritten. Okay. But the point is, I looked at it and said something's wrong. But people look at websites all day long. No, hey, there's my man, Mike Barish. How are you, Mike?
Outstanding.
We were just discussing the fact that everybody's website has some kind of flaw and how scary it is that nobody really looks at it or fixes it. We rarely get your input. You're usually running around. Do you have thoughts on websites and mistakes and why they're so horrible and what might be a good solution? And thank you for joining us, Mike.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the kind intro. I think what all those dealers and their websites should be doing is exactly what they are doing. Not be transparent, don't provide pricing, don't help the customer because it's job security for me. So I love the fact that they keep doing it.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
CYA, cover your ass. Absolutely right.
Well, it's just like I said, it's job security. I don't understand. Obviously, I'm slower than everybody else out there because they keep doing it. But for me, what was extremely successful was partnering with guys like Russell Hill and Fixed Ops Marketing and putting that tool inside their dealership and giving them an opportunity to earn customers' business every day by putting relevant information with great videos, incredible SEO content that helps drive traffic to the door. And most people just don't get what the number one responsibility is for any successful fixed ops director out there on the planet today. And it's to drive traffic to your service and parts team. And until they figure out a way to master that, they're going to be challenged. And again,
Hey,
job security for me. Yes, sir.
2 things. I never correct you. I just had a thought. And by the way, since Rhonda has the swear jar going, I just want it known for the record that MF stands for my favorite type, right, Rhonda? Because that would be a big amount you'd have to throw your way. I'm from Philly. I
That'd
get
be a
that.
car
MF,
payment.
I know what MFSB and the last two letters were soul band. You figure out the rest. Michael, I would think the only thing might be tied with driving traffic to service is not losing the traffic that's inherently there by not being smart with tires and oil changes and pricing and making the people feel at home and accommodating them rather than saying, "Oh, sure, we can get your car in 3 weeks. I hope the fire goes out." Go ahead, Mike.
If you haven't adopted the concept of providing express service to a customer in 2024, chances are you may never. But it's never going to change. The most precious commodity to anybody that can fog a mirror is time. And that's the quickest way for you to be driving your retention metric, respect the customer's time. And by the way, not just today, it'll be the biggest difference for the dealers that are doing it well or failing in 2030. So if we're not really concentrated on providing a high level of express service in a timely fashion, and when I say timely, I'm talking about 60 minutes or less for routine maintenances like an oil change and tire rotation, those guys are going to be really, really, really challenged in another 5 or 6 or 7 years. Because the dealers that get really good at it in their PMAs are going to gobble up market share. And it's not just going to work for their service department, it's going to work for their sales department because we'll create the traffic in those showrooms to sell the next line of vehicles available. With that, Larry, I got to eat my mic. I'm going to jump in the shower. I'm dirty. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
You're always welcome.
We love you,
y'all.
man.
All
Hey,
right.
let's thank
Get
you. So
Tony on.
let's get Tony in right because he's heading to a meeting or revival or something.
Band practice.
Here it is.
And he's on mute.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm getting better at it. So I don't think I'm going out on a limb by saying that I am a website expert, and I'm not boasting, but 30 years of building websites for automotive, I think I qualify for that statement.
Damn
if
right.
any of you,
I mean, shoot.
Go ahead, Russell. That's not a swear word. No, you wanted to stop the water up. But I will tell you.
Wait a minute.
You know,
it's not a swear to you because you're religious and the Bible talks a lot about damnation. But Rhonda's Jewish and she's trying to buy a Porsche. So we're gonna call Dan and we'll have to bill you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Get it. But I will say, you know, we could spend the next 10 weeks every Wednesday night talking about the problems with websites. I think we need to focus on some solutions tonight and, you know, nip that in the bud. Number one is we know it's the number one marketing platform for a dealership, bar none, right? Let me ask you this. How many people at Amazon work on their website? Everyone. It's a part of everything everyone does. And in a dealership, we've relegated this to one individual, oftentimes a BDC sales manager, and they're doing 1,000 other things. Why dealers don't have a dedicated website person like myself for our store is beyond me. That is a 6-figure job all day, every day, because websites are cheap. The people to run them is what costs money. And so I think you start there. You start with a dedicated person for the website. And that person has to be the guard of the website, the gatekeeper of the website that keeps all the crap off the website. And when you fire a vendor, you clean that code off your website and you keep that clean. That person has to be the person who drives the SEO strategy for the website, not some vendor, not some sales manager, but you need a website manager. I don't even know if I would call them a manager, but you need that in your dealership. And if you're not doing that, shut the damn thing down and start over. And you know, I will say at our dealership, we get a lot of visitors. I mean, we're well over 70,000 visitors a month. Our service, we use Russell's tool on our service side of it. And we have, I was going to say before Michael jetted, we do over 6,000 customer pay ROs a month. 6,000 guys. There's about a handful of dealers nationwide that even come close to that number. And it's because
Small number.
What's that?
I said, literally, it is a small number that does that kind of customer pay.
Yeah. And a lot of it has to do with even before Russell's tool, which we've been using now for about 6 months, I'm guessing, Russell, something like that. We just made sure it was super efficient, super fast, and we were responsive to it. Now we're stuck with some of the tools, as somebody mentioned earlier, that the manufacturer forces on us. But fortunately, we're a Toyota store, and it's good to be a Toyota dealer, and they're a great manufacturer partner for us. But I feel bad for other manufacturer or other dealers where the manufacturer is basically trying to dumb it down to the lowest common denominator, and they take all the control out of the dealer's hands. But at the end of the day, most dealers don't take ownership of their websites, so the manufacturers are going to do it for them. And I think we need to start with a dedicated person in the dealership that knows CSS, knows HTML, knows JavaScript, knows how code affects the website, knows how to optimize images, knows how to write good quality SEO content, knows how to generate quality video content. And there's a lot to it, but it can't be somebody's part-time job. And with that said, I'm all done.
Hey, I got one
That
thing
is
before
not
we
one
jump to
person, Tony.
yeah, I want to say one thing on top of what Tony said, and then we'll jump to somebody else. Every time I call a dealer, and I bet you've all been through this, they're in a meeting. How about if once a month, at least, you had a meeting where you put the managers all in a room and you looked at the website and you hit on every page. And maybe somebody would say, Jesus Christ, I didn't know we were doing that, or wow, that's great, or hey, wait, that we sold that car, or wait, that's not the number anymore to the body shop. If you think about the meetings we have, and Russell, I made a guy laugh once. Says, would you like to make 500 cash? He says, sure. I said, next meeting you go to, just stand up after an hour and say, I don't think we wasted enough time. Let's go another hour. How about sitting around
Larry,
all the managers and looking at the website? I mean, if we all agree it's crucial, when was the last time anybody had a meeting where 4 or 5 managers were in and discussed it? I mean, you talk about an easy, cost-free solution. You're already in the meeting.
Well, I will share with you that the simplest step you can do in your dealership, the first step you can do is make sure on a regular basis, once a week, you make sure that every employee knows who runs the website, who's responsible, who is that person in your store who can solve that problem, and invite their feedback. And I do that every week in our sales meeting and in our huddles. I announce, hey, if you see something on our website, I'm your guy. Call me. Here's my extension. Don't just forget about it. I can't keep my eyes on all of it, but you walk into the average dealer and say, hey, who runs your website? And probably half of your employees have no idea who they can contact to solve a problem that's on the website. So I think that's the easiest thing you can do in your dealership. Bring awareness to who can fix it all the time, not just once, all the time.
Tony,
I
I
gotta
know
raise
you're
my
telling the
fucking
truth.
hand only because I want to contribute to the swear jar and I have to interrupt. Tony, if you hired that person that makes 6 figures a year, what is the ultimate goal of that position?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Now, Rhonda, you said it's not one person. And I didn't say it was one. I said it was one person who controls the website. They bring on partners, they bring on solutions to solve some of the challenges we have, technically speaking. And that person has to have in-depth knowledge of these technologies. I know HTML, I know CSS, I know JavaScript. That doesn't mean I write it every time, but I know when it's broken, I know how to fix it. So I'm not saying that person does all the heavy lifting, but they've got to be well informed about all the tools that are available and bring the right resources and people to the table to solve the problems.
Can I throw something at you from ground level that'll
Hold
make
on
you
a
all
second, or
laugh?
I'm going to add another tip
Go
to the
ahead,
swear jar.
Go ahead, Mike.
So the missing piece to all of this is that most of the people in that position have grown up on the variable side, but there's a couple sides of the house. So for years and years and years, every tool from every manufacturer has only been to drive traffic on the variable side. But I've been hearing lately that fixed ops is important. I'm not sure if that's true yet or not.
It's true. I'll substantiate that.
I'm hoping one day it will be.
Hey, Mike. So I've been in a few dealerships in the last 2 months. I'd say probably in about 7. Well run, good people sharp. I'm not making this up. All 7 of them, I continue to get leads when I'm sales recruiting. So I want my computer to work. And I love when I ask, hey, what's the passcode to get in? Nobody knows. I mean, you're talking about the most basic information. So if we've got that kind of ground level ignorance, it's what's going to lead to. Hey, wait, looks we got Bob Charbonneau, and hey, how are you, my buddy?
Hey,
So
Larry, let me
Have a good night,
finish
guys.
this point, please.
Oh,
If
Yeah,
I
finish,
may,
oh, go
please.
ahead.
please. So I was at a huge Honda store and a huge Subaru store last week, and we have this car jargon, right? We call somebody a walk-in, and it has a negative connotation to it, right? But on their website there is a coupon that says no appointment necessary. But we attack the person and say,
Did
"Why
you
are
have
you
an
here? Do you have an appointment?" The
Did you have a
worst
point?
word track in the business. Who cares? They have a need. Let's solve it.
Yep, you're right, Mike.
Love it.
100%.
Love it.
just before you go, Tony, I just wanted to add one thing. Of all the OEMs, Toyota's got it right for the websites. They've mandated to stop the roadblocks on the websites. Once you get one,
Mhm.
that's it. You're done. You can't put it on every single page. You can't. So it's making it much more
Yep.
customer friendly. So I commend Toyota for that.
Yep. Yep. And even to that, to speak to that as a Toyota dealer, and I would say a next level Toyota dealer with our website, I get frustrated with Toyota just like everybody else does, but I'm not I'm not the average dealer, right? And that is a frustration for me when Toyota says it's got to be this way and I know better, but that's okay. You win some, you lose some, but you always want to maintain that great relationship with your manufacturer. So you surrender and comply sometimes, and other times you figure out a way to make it to work.
Go ahead,
Absolutely.
Bob. You
Hey
look
guys,
like
have a
you
good night. I'm
clicked
out.
on. Bob Charbonneau. I guess he's a silent protester. While we're waiting for Bob to figure out how to use the mute button, Russell or Wendy or Fred or Mike, somebody.
Wendy?
Can you hear?
You're muted, Wendy.
Hey guys, this is starting to sound like one of those morning shows. We don't do dead air. Hey, Fred, how are things in Arizona, my buddy?
It's warm, still warm. They didn't turn temperature down yet. It's warm outside. It is. Here last week I had stuff to say, and my internet went out. So it's about
Hey,
fixed
Fred,
hours.
are they hiring in your town for a weatherman? Because I think I could do that job. Show up, wear a suit, and say it's hot.
In here, down here, good. It's easy. I think because every day. I mean, well, it's hot. Yeah, winter time is great because you say every day it's perfect, and which it is down here. It's really nice. We're going through monsoon season right now. We had a storm the other night. I mean, the pool is full of leaves and got a lot of trees. We're right by a wash here. They got trees over there, and anyways, but
All right, we get it. We even got the pool and the weather report. Bob Charbonneau, have you unplugged yet? Can you talk?
I believe I did. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfect.
All right. Well, I'm glad to be able to join this group because I truly believe that fixed stops is very important. But there isn't a department in the dealership that is not. But I'm glad to see all the groups.
Are you sure, Bob? Because right before you came on the air, Russell said he thinks fix ops is a dying issue. He's starting to .com.
I talked to Russell already this evening.
It was kind of like the conversation with Pamela and Biden. You're out. Don't worry.
That's okay. Russell's on the fixed ops team also. And I've been doing this for 55 years, from a tire battery installer to running 370 national chain auto centers for 8 years. And the same problems are pretty much still there. The business although it's seems complicated, it really isn't. You know, I worked with a tire dealer trying to get enough money to go to Michigan from Alabama, and every day we came in, and it was just him and I. We had a meeting, and it was in his office, and they'd go sit down, and on his credenza, he'd have tie rod ends, shocks, brakes, you know, everything that we could find on a car, because my job was the 8 cars that we were going to get. I would get them in, I would check everything, bring it to him, and then he would deal with the customer and sell it for me to do. Well, you know what? That was in 1968. So sometimes it seems like it's complicated, but it's really still that simple. It's just make sure when we get these tools that they actually allow us to do that more efficiently, if anything.
That's right. That's right, baby.
Okay. All right,
Mike
look,
Larkin.
I do websites with my daughter. We do very simple ones, nothing like a car dealer one is heavy on the data. But we do 2 things. One is there's free website audit software. We run it all the time for our clients. It tells you what can be improved in terms of SEO and what's broken. We check all the links. I'm the customer experience person. I look, I say, this doesn't look right. This moved, you know, we go back in because even Wix websites, which are great, tend to undo themselves as time goes on. So, speaking to what Tony said, you need a person in-house, a marketing person typically, who checks the website periodically. You can bring in a part-time webmaster who's a coder, because that's a very specialized field, and you probably don't want to pay somebody full-time for that. But there's companies that do that. You know, you call them, my website screwed up, come fix it. Or, you know, they have access, and they don't have to come fix it. They have access from their office, kind of thing. But it's a constant inspection. You don't let it sit there because it will break. And then things like Google updates will throw your website into the toilet. I didn't say a bad word, did I?
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm getting there. But seriously, you know, it's a team effort. You have your principals who have to say this is not reflecting what we're doing, regardless of what the manufacturer wants. You still have to reflect who you are and what you're doing. You have your marketing person who's saying, you know, this is not the message. This is not customer friendly. This people don't want to come here and do this with the pop-ups and this, that, and the other. And then you have your technical people, whether it's, you know, a lot of hours or a few hours. Michael's agreeing with me.
Hey, why don't we
Hey,
hear from Michael and Wendy?
Let me throw a couple of numbers on you, Rhonda, and see if this makes sense. Mobile friendly websites, they're so important. And I have a number of 70% and rising as far as people accessing the internet. They're doing it on mobile. Is that
It's
accurate?
in the 90s. It's in the
Absolutely.
90s, Mike.
Okay. I mean, everybody's got a
phone.
a phone in their hands, like in the 18 or 1700s, like a
Right.
pirate has a hook.
Right.
I mean, they're all looking down at the preacher position,
If
except
you don't
for
have a mobile optimized site, Google won't index you, period, full stop. You might as well not have a
Wow.
site at all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they won't.
And only 2% of all traffic, everybody that gets traffic to their website, is going to a testimonial page. They're not interested in your testimonies on your page because they don't believe it. They think that, you know, your grandma Moses is responsible for that 5-star review.
They're more likely to look on Google.
Yeah, they're wanting to look elsewhere before they get to the website. And then finally, you know, the myth is if you build it, they will come. Myth. And I keep on seeing this on LinkedIn. I do sales and marketing. Well, you do marketing before you get the sales. Isn't that true? So why is it you say you're in sales and marketing?
That's
I
not
don't
the same
understand
thing.
that. Yeah, and the
I like
finally, I see it all the time on dealerships' websites. Meet the team. Blank, blank, blank.
No
I'm
pictures.
like, what's the point in having that
Mike,
page?
wait. Maybe they're in the witness protection program. Let's not blow anybody's cover.
The invisible staff. I get it.
Yeah.
I love
see
those
it.
meet the team pages. They're actually wonderful. They allow you to
They
contact
should
people.
be wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay.
they allow you to contact people. But you're right. If there's not good information, if not a accessible phone number, email, and a decent picture, what's the
And
point?
it's worthless.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about that for just 1 second. I was looking at a dealership in Pennsylvania. I was asked to take a look at it. They said, take a look at our shop and tell me what you think. And I said, your general manager is lazy. They said, how do you know that? And I said, because your meet the team page has nobody on it.
Right.
It's there's 38 employees and 22 of them have no pictures. So what does that mean? That means that you have either a high turnover of staff, your general manager is lazy at getting the pictures done and people brought up on the screen. It means that they don't have an attention to detail. That means as a consumer, I don't want to do business with you. End of story. Because I can figure it out in 2 seconds and it's taken you ages to figure it out on your own. Now, that's one of the challenges of being a strategic advisor to a dealership is you can't tell the dealership that they're ugly. Well, unfortunately, I'm not telling them that. The consumer is, and that's who pays everything. Every single dollar that is spent and earned at a dealership is from the consumer.
Right on.
Because the OEM might give you some back end money, but that's only after the consumer spent money. It's the consumer that funds every single thing. So why are you giving the consumer such a hard time to deal with you? Are you that much of a bunch of idiots? I'm sorry that this one is where I get passionate, and this is something that I kind of took after Mr. Barrich on Sunday morning when he had a complete meltdown on Service Drive Live, and there was just a few words said, but I'll try and keep it cleaner. But dealers, please wake up. Stop looking at your dealerships with your dealer goggles on. Put on the consumer goggles because that's what funds you. It's not your team. It's not the OEM. It's not anything. It's the people that are driving on your lot to do business with you. And if you can't see it, get out. It's plain and simple. Joe Biden couldn't see it. Now he was told it. Now he's out. You're going to be the next one. And there's consolidation happening at such a tremendous rate because people are taking legacy money and getting the hell out of the business because there's more acquisitions happening each and every year in the car business than we can shake a stick at. It's because we operate as we know it. We do it as we've always done it. If we get in a situation where we've had to pivot, like in digital retailing in 2020, we had to switch to digital retailing. We did it. And then guess what? We didn't have to do it anymore. So we switched back out of it. And we said, nobody wants to buy a car online. Well, 4.5 million Tesla owners bought their cars online. Every single Tesla you see was bought online. So therefore, it's digital. So wake up, smell the coffee, get grinding on it, and do exactly what Tony said. Have people in place. Start changing the dynamics of the positionings of responsibility in the dealership. You will change the dimensional change of how everything converts. And that's what's going to happen moving forward.
Damn right,
Hey,
man.
We haven't heard from my good and great friend, Wendy. When?
Still can't hear you.
No, wait a minute. Don't let her unmute. Look how happy Fred is that she's muted.
We
So,
good now? Are we good now?
We are good
Oh,
now,
there
but
you go.
Fred's
Okay.
Yeah,
not
but on the
smiling
flip
much,
side, guess who's the owner of the Google Meets all day long? And if he says one crossword, click, you're out. You're out. I do it all day long. Anyway, guys, I had to sit up straight in my chair for this because these always get my blood going. So, and I'm not going to tell you what's wrong. I'm not going to tell you what the dealers have been doing the same way since 2010 or since 2006 when I stayed home. I was in the back of the house at Amato. I had my kids. I was home for a couple years. I came back in 06 to the front of the house, right? And I got hired as the internet marketing manager by John, but then like, I don't know, less than a year later, the GM walked me in an office and I built my first BDC. So I had the benefit of knowing from the back end how to edit things. I got to go in there when the CRM wasn't getting the leads right. I know how to go in and pull them off the back end. And that's how we printed them and worked the leads. But here's the thing. You don't have to know how to code. I disagree with Tony. I disagree with at least one point with everybody who spoke. I'll tell you why. I'm super solutions oriented. And when I have a problem, I'm not going to say, well, you should have done this and you should have done that and you should have done that. I mean, a year ago, before I kind of got more chiseled in on my solutions oriented mind, or maybe it's because Fred's got a problem for every solution and I'm the yang to his yin and I have a solution for every problem. But so you find somebody who can do it for you. DEP, dealer e-process. I've worked with them since the late 90s when they first started. First with Amato, there was a guy named Jake Swick, and I'll be damned if he's not. Sorry, Rhonda. I'll be damned if. I'll be damned if. Oh my God!
It's not a
Right,
customer.
Dan.
Randy.
Push my noodle. I mean my needle. All right, it's been a long day. I got up at 2 a.m. to watch Breakfast with Champions or listen to it. So anyway, Jake Swick, DEP, he's still there. He's amazing. When I had something I didn't know how to do, because first of all, to step back, and I even did pictures and notes, which you can't see because I'm blurred. But marketing drives the leads to the website. In my opinion, BDC is the conversion tool. Okay, we take them off the website, we convert them to the service lane or the showroom. Okay, nobody can tell me I'm wrong, or internet sales department or whatever. But again, it's the human side, ladies and gents. It's always the human side. Even back when the tech was inferior and primitive, it was the humans that made it work. It was the humans that in the BDC test every single one of your submission forms on your website weekly. It was the BDC brain. Then later, as I became a consultant with all my dealers who also had DEP, when we started texting in the early 2000s, and we had to have opt-ins. So then we found out on a squeeze page, especially if it's not a double opt-in state, which came much later, you could get a verbal disclosure on every single submission page on your website. Boom, you can text them and you don't have to get the opt-in. This was back then. So whatever your challenges are that you're presented with, you simply find someone that can do it. You don't have to make six figures. I mean, if you're really good, you should be making it because you got a really important job. And Rhonda, you better get that jar out because I'm getting pumped up, but I'll talk faster. So the idea is, and I never really built one until BDC Angels 4 years ago. I bartered with a friend who's a genius. He showed me how to build my BDC Angels one, and it was a one pager. It was easy. Well, now I just launched the human side of AI where I had to learn ClickFunnels. And again, that same friend, I'm bartering with him, and I'm giving him agents for his agency, and he's getting me going and showing me how to use the membership platform on the human side of AI. Check it out. I didn't mean to pitch, but I guess I just did. So the idea is you have to test it. You have to police it. It's the same as anything you have, anything you use, but going to, shop in your own website. And Peter, thank you for that, because I had to check human side of AI on the iPad as well as the phone and the website. And it's beautiful, baby. So that was a really good point. You have to be policing it. You have to check your submission forms. You have to make sure the leads are getting through. You have to make sure that you mystery shop the other dealers that are in your space so you know what they're offering. You have to hook up with someone like Russell Hill and Fixed Ops Marketing so you get the right things on the service department. You need to make sure that everybody in the dealership knows exactly what's on the website. So when your BDC or your salespeople, your SAs, your SMs, or whoever is reaching out to those customers, and the customer says, "Oh yeah, I saw this special for blah 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 on your website." "Oh really? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to check. Can I call you back?" So you have to make sure everybody who touches it on the front end, on the receiving end, knows exactly what it is. Like back in 2006, you guys, like when everybody who touched the phone needs to think of it this way. Like you say, everybody who touches a phone in your dealership has to know the promotions, has to know what's going on, when you're running. Well, the computer is your phone too. The computer is your digital phone for the internet submissions and stuff. So if they submit something and then the BDC doesn't read the comments in the leads, or they wanted to just make calls and they don't give them the sourcing for the leads that come in, so you don't know where to put your money where it's effective, then again, you don't know what you're doing, and the customer thinks you're a dummy and goes down the road to the next dealer. So hold on, because I had some important things. It takes a village. You have to test your emails that are going into your CRM, that they're going in the right way. You have to find yourself a Jake Swick at DEP. You have to find somebody the path of least resistance, even with the ClickFunnels, or even like Mike Larkin did a fabulous banner ad for us for Christmas in July. Guess who Santa is? Fred. And we did it in Milwaukee, in my home area, right? Fabulous ads. And we were constantly testing everything like I did when I was raising it. You have to test to make sure all your CTAs work and they go to the right place, and that not only the customer gets feedback, but it ends up landing where you want it to land. So whether you're pulling your leads out of the back end tool of a website because you can't export them to your CRM, or you're responding to them in the CRM yourself, you have to know that everything's working on both sides. And now, well, hold on, I'm almost done. So test your submissions, takes a village, stuck in queue, back end tool, have a good rep. That's it. I'm done.
Hey, we
Steve,
got
Doug-
Doug.
while you
Doug.
collect your thoughts, if I may,
Yeah.
I want to let you know, you said you disagreed with everybody that had spoke to a certain level up until the time you spoke. But I just want to remind you, like I spoke previously, and
Okay,
there's no
thank you.
way
I
you
was
could disagree
meaning to
with me.
talk. I was meaning to talk to you about that, but I was going to take it offline. That's a joke, Michael. So seriously though, I'll tell you from my perspective, because it's all about perspective. The only thing I completely understand about you don't like it when people walk in the service department and say, "Do you have an appointment?" From a BDC brain like mine, I'm just trying to source them. Right, so the data's clean. When I
Well,
greet them.
no, but Michael wasn't being adversarial with that. All he's
Oh,
saying
I
is
know.
we should always welcome every hey, welcome to. Oh, don't have an appointment? We'll accommodate you anyway. Because that initial impression,
It's
you don't get
everything.
a second chance to make it. Hey, when you
Agreed.
guys are done mud wrestling, Doug Reeves joined us. I'd love to hear from Doug too.
Hi.
Hey, Doug.
How
Hello.
are you?
I literally just joined. I don't even, is the topic websites? I don't even know what the hell
Yeah.
The
we're
topic
talking
is
about. I'm sorry.
what's wrong with websites? How can we fix them? You didn't miss much. I was irreverent. Fred gave a weather report, and I believe Wendy just bitch slapped Michael Barrish. So this could really be an interesting.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead, my
Well,
buddy.
but so in my opinion, where we interact with websites is certainly with the digital retailing tool that they have on the website. And in general, I find is there's too many damn pop-ups. They make it too hard for customers. They get frustrated halfway through. They bail on it. The data from the DR tool comes into the store. It doesn't match up. I just wish dealers would spend more time actually trying to buy a car on their website and see what the struggles are that customers deal with when they're utilizing their digital retailing tool, because a lot of them are just too arduous and just there's just too much work to get through it all. And I think it's
Right
ending up
on.
becoming more of a detriment than it is an aid to the dealership. And it's a poor reflection on the dealership. So that would be my 2 cents.
Doug, before all kidding
Hold on,
aside,
hold on.
before you,
I gotta tell Doug that was a damn nickel, man. That was awesome.
hey,
I
Doug,
appreciate it.
before you got in,
Mhm.
we had a lot of good comments. Tony Thorstad said that you should have one person in the dealership that people know who to go to if there's a broken link, if there's something. We all agreed that you need to look at it. And my silly idea was, when all these wasted manager meetings, maybe they could spend one meeting a month where they just go over the website and pull up every page and see what works and what doesn't, and
Oh,
just
God,
bring you up to
yes.
stuff.
Oh God, yes. You go to some of these websites, they're so bad. Some of them are so horrible. I hate websites that have drawings of people as opposed to actual pictures, or they just, an outline of somebody that just got hired. I hate websites that I've gone to websites and they still have like specials from 2022.
No, wait a
on.
minute, Doug. You said drawings. Some of the managers I've seen, I think, are actual cartoons. So maybe that
Well,
wasn't
yes.
realistic for draft. Hey,
There
when
is
you're all
that.
done, Doug, believe it or not, he's commented, but we haven't heard from my good and great friend Russell. Russell, when
I'm all
Doug's
done.
done, what do you think, my brother?
You know, I got to tell you, I really love everything I heard, but the biggest takeaway for me is websites are like they're like a pet. Okay. Now it used to be until the and even the OEMs have several website vendors you can pick from now, but it used to be that new person comes in, they cancel and come up with a new website. There is no one solution. Nobody does it the best or anything like that. But websites are like a pet. Okay. They get these websites up and nobody checks them for the most part. I'm talking about the most part, but they're like a pet. They need to be watered. They need to be fed. They need to be played with. Okay. They need to be taken out for shots, and they need to have back. So you need to pay attention to them is where I'm going with that. And they're not paying attention to it. For me, because I'm on that side. Now I was on the variable side for 20 something years. So now I'm on the fixed side. I don't even profess to know. That's why my go-to guru is Michael Barrett. But he said something that's really important. Even if you have appointments, they get all jacked up. Somebody else has got the position before you. It doesn't make any difference. It's hell in a handbasket. The high level that he talked about really gave me, I had to write that down because I'm going to use it when I speak at Digital Dealer. High level of express service should be the main focal point, which is absolutely true. That's the mainstay. That's the stuff that keeps them coming back. You're going to handle the major repairs when they come up, etc. But for the most part, it's all about express service, right? About flushes and brakes and tires and batteries and alignments and, all those types of things. Okay. Filters, etc. Wiper blades, all that stuff is express service. But nobody really, and most of this stuff it's so broken on the variable side. It's not even funny. It's even more broken on the fixed side. It's even more broken. Everybody knows what the three common denominators, even somebody who's our competition, poor calls to action, or they have the same freaking video on every single offer. It's the same exact one. There's nothing, spectacular. It's all about delivering a 10 experience. Okay. And that's what I'm focusing on today. Leveling the playing field with something that rivals or exceeds what they've always been doing on the variable side, because 85% approximately of all the GMs grew up on the variable side. Whoever mentioned that, probably Michael. And all they care about is new and used. That's it. They could give a rat's, whatever on the fixed side. And it's really ugly. That's a big opportunity. But we're talking about the same stuff that we did. It's about the sales side, the fixed side. The thing is, nobody's really checking. Nobody's inspecting what they're, very, very few are. Okay. They're, Michael, high level. Okay. That stuff was working. He was checking it every single day. Tony, same thing. The guy is a freaking genius. He knows more than most about that. I understand. I like the idea there should be one point of contact that everybody knows who to go to. There should be, I listened to Ed Roberts talking about once a month, they go through the website. Peter brought something up. I wrote some notes about it too. iPads and laptops and PCs and phones and the different variations of phones and Safari. I got to tell you what looks great on a PC, when you go to Safari, it doesn't, it's not right.
Yep.
Doesn't work right. And this goes on and on and on. Just wanted to offer my 2 cents. This is why we all have jobs. You see, I love it. Okay. This is good stuff.
So
You touched on something that I wanted to add. You mentioned the OEMs. I think it's unfortunate the OEMs are kind of the Gestapo and the decision maker on who gets to be approved and who doesn't get approved. Because I know there's a lot of great companies out there that would love to be on websites, but if the OEM doesn't bless it, if they don't kiss the ring, the OEM's not gonna endorse it. And I think that's an unfortunate hurdle that dealers face as well.
It is, Doug. I agree. Fortunately for me, none of that makes any difference. I can put our stuff on any website, period, with any OEM. It doesn't make any difference. So I'm blessed I don't have to do that. My old company, yeah, we worked on the variable side, and it's a bloody nightmare to get anything on there.
Hey, Doug, before you got on, Peter was commenting, rightfully so, that they're almost a slave to the co-op, doing what the OEM tells them so they can get that little money, but not realizing what they're sacrificing by not doing things the right way and making it easy and customer friendly.
Oh, totally true. We experience that on a daily basis. It's unbelievable how that works.
Yeah, like you would turn around and say, how much do you make off co-op on your website? And the dealer might say $20,000-$30,000. Well, how much do you lose?
I don't know.
They have no idea on how much they lose.
It's
So
more than that.
yeah, and that drives me insane. Like, and the other one is that I get told only 18% of people would ever go end to end buying on the web.
Hey, wait a minute. You gotta love Michael Barish. Okay. Not only is he my buddy, not only has he got me work and I've gotten him work, but the nut just sent me $5 on Venmo for cursing.
Why did he send it to me?
Because Larry's got to get his cut.
Once again, the broken link, the money should have went to Ron, it went to me. It's one time I'm in favor of a bad link.
So,
love Barish.
as I was saying, dealers say 18% of people will buy a car end to end on the online. Well, that's only because 18% of people can get it done. It would be much higher if the actual digital retailing tools worked. So it just infuriates me.
So, unfortunately, I mentioned up front that I needed to be a couple minutes early so I can turn on the other deal. But anyway, I love each and every one of you, and thank you all for showing up for me tonight and making my a better night tonight. You know what I mean? I appreciate it. Really, each and every one. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Russell, take care.
See you tomorrow night, Peter.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Welcome. So
well,
with that,
you know what? I wouldn't mind hearing what this lunatic is going to say and the excuses and nonsense. Does anybody else have any thoughts? I think we've gotten some really great ideas, and we appreciate everybody. Doug, Michael Barish, always Wendy and Fred and Mike Larkin. We appreciate every one of you. If anybody has any last thoughts, if not, we'll see you next Wednesday. Bob Charbonneau, thank you so much for tuning in, my brother.
And we'll see you tomorrow night on Automotive Innovators and Disruptors for Women in Automotive. Thank you.
Thank you,
Stay
everyone.
healthy, everybody.
Good night.